Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I want to talk to you about bow drill glazing. Glazing is caused from not enough downward pressure as you're going for the ember. Glazing happens at the spindle tip and divot in the fireboard. If you're not boring down through the board fast enough and you're just up there spinning in the same place and not really getting down into the board, then you're creating too much heat and that wood does nothing but sit there and get harder and harder. It's kind of like fire hardening. You'll know that you have glazing because as you're going for the ember, you can see you're making plenty of smoke, you're making dust, then all of a sudden the smoke stops, the dust pile stops increasing, and sometimes you can hear squeaking. If you take that spindle tip, take a look at the spindle tip, it'll be very, very shiny. The way that I deal with glazing is I can tell when it's starting to happen, and so I immediately press down harder on my spindle, and many times that will wear away that glazing and start, getting the right amount of friction and the right amount of boring at the same time, and I can continue on making my dust pile. Sometimes if you've built the glazing up too thick, you're just gonna have to stop and cut all that glazing off the spindle tip, and I'll even try to gouge down inside the divot and kind of get some of that glazing out also. The only time I ever have to deal with it now is when I'm using hard woods. This is a piece of Crepe Myrtle. You can hear how hard this stuff is. So I'm going to attempt to show you what glazing is, show you how I get rid of it and how I deal with it. So let me go ahead and whittle these out and turn them into a spindle, and this doesn't need any more work. Fireboard. So I'm going to use this for the bearing block am. Coming down about 1.5 inches. This neighborhood is always noisy. If it wasn't a rainy day today and everything's soaking wet, it's about 9:30 in the morning, there'd be 2 or 3 of my neighbors with the leaf blowers going. It looks pretty good, just as long as this point is on center line with the spindle. Now, as I've told you over and over again, it's almost comical now. I come down 1/4 inch, do facets all the way around. Then come up 1/8 inch, do facets all the way around. Come up 1/16 inch, facets all the way around. And that makes the right kind of end that I like. That's not to say that I don't like those who come 1/4 inch down and then whittle it to a point so that they only have to make such a small divot in the fireboard. I like that method too. I like it very much. But I just want that more rounded sort of bull nose on the end of my spindles, usually. That looks pretty good. All right. I put my foot right here, so I'm gonna make a divot right here. Isn't that a beautiful spindle? Nice and symmetrical. Once again, this is Crepe Myrtle. It's something found in a lot of yards in the southeast. It's great for bow drill, but it's very hard. You can hear it. Now let me see if I can make some glazing for you. All right, Crepe Myrtle on Crepe Myrtle, showcasing how to deal with glazing. And let me tell you beforehand, the first time I ever experienced glazing early on when I was trying to learn fire techniques with the bow drill, I think I looked up online and it said to take a few particles of sand and stick it in the divot, and that would be abrasive enough to get rid of that glazing. I did that the first couple times I experienced glazing. Next time I started just cutting it away with my knife, and that's the method that I use nowadays if I actually get full-blown glazing. But like I say, there's telltale signs that your tip and your divot is starting to glaze, and you know, it stops making smoke, it stops making dust, and that's when I start bearing down a lot harder on my spindle and just wear through that glazing. So I never really have to deal with it anymore. But remember, you don't want to bear down too hard on everything that you bow drill. A good example is tulip poplar. Tulip poplar, you need to take the opposite approach with it, because it does bore out and wear away too fast, and you'll end up boring through the board so fast that you didn't create enough heat to ignite it. It's all in the practice. You'll know how to deal with different species. You'll be able to read what your sets are telling you while you're going for embers, and it's just something that you learn from practice. You see how it has stopped smoking? And I know you can't tell, but it has stopped making dust also. And when the glaze gets particularly thick, it'll actually start squeaking. And it's not as shiny as I would have hoped, but that's much shinier than a regular tip would look. And it's very shiny down inside the divot. Let me go ahead and cut my notch, and then we'll go ahead and cut all of this off and see if we can get back to wearing down through the board properly with the right amount of heat. All right, in this low light, my camera is not going to focus. We'll do it all at a distance. Now when I go back and apply more downward pressure, let's see if we can get the ember. right, I dropped off the back side of that divot, but we have a nice big hot ember. Like I say, Crepe Myrtle is great for bow drill. If you get a chance to get some of it, you want to have it in your supplies. A beautifully shaped end with no glazing. I hope some of this info helps you. I think only people that practice bow drill all the time, and especially beginners, are going to run into glazing. I just sort of wanted you to understand what it is, how to avoid it, how to deal with it. It's not that hard. All right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.